Poo poo poo. Pooty 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 poo. Poo 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 poo. Big pooing poo. I'm a poo. My father was a poo before me. My mum was less a poo, but she was obviously a poo sympathiser. A poo milker. She milked the cum out of a poo 3 times. Well, yeah, 3 times for the poo I'm aware of. And then I have a sister who has a different father who's, far away from stuff I know. I don't know who that was. He might have been a poo, he might not have been a poo. But my mum, she obviously loved the poo so much that she had kids with it and produced some little half-breed poos. Me and my brothers. I was the youngest of which, the youngest little poo. Obviously, after me, they went, maybe that'll do. Maybe let's not do that again. This one's... I don't know if I looked weird or something, but they probably knew in some kind of way that... They just knew. They saw me come out and they were like, let's... Or I came out and they went, oh, that was good, that's perfect. Nail on the head. That's what that is. We've hit the nail on the head. We've done our best now. It's not going to get better than this. Let's quit while we're ahead and not have any more fucking poo babies. Point being, there is a point to this, of course. As always, they don't call me the have a point kid for nothing. I'm full of points. Is that the word poo is always funny. Specifically, and I've said this before and I'll say it again because I have pretty much nothing else to talk about. Specifically written down, to see the word poo written down is just about one of the funniest things ever. Certainly one of the funniest things I can think of. And as you all know, not only am I a student of comedy, but I'm also a purveyor, a monger. I'm a comedy monger. Like a warmonger or a fishmonger. To mong means to, I guess, deal out, to give to people, to, create supply for the masses, to mong for the people. I mong humour and comedy because I'm fucking hilarious and shit, you bitches, you shit-loving shit bitches, you poo hounds. Which is to say, poo written down, very, very funny. Very funny, funny, very, 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 very funny. You may disagree, and if so... More often than not, as is usually the case with these sorts of things, comedy is about surprise and about the unexpected, yeah? Most funny things are funny because you don't expect them. They jump out at you. Certainly, to my mind, one of the greatest comedy parts, greatest stand-up comedy bits, gags, jokes, whatever, ever written, doesn't actually involve poo at all, which is, controversial, especially in terms of what we're talking about currently. And also, I guess, controversial because it's a Louie CK bit and people were a bit, that guy, he showed his penis to some love him or hate him or be indifferent to him, whatever. He was very, very, was and very good at what he does. He knows his craft very much so. And he has what I consider to be one of, if not the best written comedy bits ever. I won't spoil it, but look it up on YouTube or whatever. Excuse me. Look up Louie CK Awesome Possum. The Awesome Possum bit is just one of the funniest bits, funniest stand-up comedy jokes ever. In my opinion, you might not agree, but you're wrong, you idiot. It's fucking good because it has the jump out at you unexpectedly aspect to it, yeah, which is good and stuff. Much like poo. Obviously, you know, if someone was to say, look, I'm going to write the word poo, and then they write the word poo. No, actually, okay, I was going to say, if somebody tells you they're going to write the word poo, and then you see them write the word poo, it's not funny. Maybe let's change that to not as funny. It's still fucking hilarious if someone says, look, I'm going to write the word poo, and then they write the word poo. Even, you know, you're expecting it, and it's still funny. That's good. Comedy gold is what that is. What? Then? That's right. But funnier. There we go. Funnier than that would be if you just saw the word poo written down. You weren't expecting it. I've seen it on a wall once. I saw the word poo written on a wall in like pen or paint or something, and it made me laugh. Made my day, so it did. I was on my bike. I was at a point where I was cycling. I lived in my folks' house, so I was cycling from my folks' house. I call them folks because only one of them is my parent. To the train station, which was anywhere from like a 20 to 40 minute ride, depending on how lazy I was. To then get a train to the other place, to then get to work. So I was on my bike. It was a miserable day, and it was raining and just tired, whatever. Early in the morning, and then I saw the word poo written on a wall, and it made me slightly less miserable. You know, it didn't change my circumstances. I still had to go to fucking work, but you know, it lightened my mood somewhat. Made me go, ha, you know what? I agree. Poo. Pooing poo. What a load of poo. Which is funny, obviously. Poo equals humour. Humour. That's something people do that annoys me. Oh, let's be negative. Let's stop talking about funny things. Let's be negative. When a word starts with an H, and so it would be humour, but they say humour, so it sounds like they're saying humour. It's weird. I don't know. Humour. Humans. We are but humans. Lowly humans. See, it kind of sounds like humans, but if you listen, they're actually saying humans. I don't know. It's not even. It doesn't even annoy me. Like I said, it just is a thing that I've noticed, and has no impact on my life whatsoever. Really. So what are we bloody drawing today? This is, we'll call him Mr. Hatch. I'm going to be making a cross hatch tutorial video. I've done a couple in the past. They're on my Patreon. I've not watched them in a while. They're years old at this point. It's about time I updated it. Quite a few people have been asking, you do a tutorial cross hatch. So I'm gonna, and it's going to be more, you know, because even since those ones I made, I've got better at drawing, better understanding of shading and cross-hatching as a thing. I got better at putting videos together, about talking my way through things, editing. So It stands to reason. Now I make a new video about cross-hatching. New videos for the people. Of course, put it on my Patreon. Tell everyone to pay if you want it for a quid a month. You know, and you get a fucking. I need a sip of my drink. Sorry. I am but a lowly human. And I get thirsty sometimes. So I have to have a drink. This might not be the one I use, but I just wanted, you know, an outline of something, a guy, something, I guess, easy to grasp. That I can do cross-hatching examples on different bits. So big muscly arms, that's sort of a given for what I do. Big muscly arms, cross-hatching. And then faces. I could do the shadowing on the faces and stuff. Maybe a little bit of cloth hatching as opposed to cross hatching. A little bit of that. A little bit of skinny arm cross hatching, shadows here and such. So I can show a variety of shading and hatching techniques within one image. So just a nice, fairly bold image, picture of a guy that I can use to tutorialize cross-hatching techniques. Yeah. This might ruin it. Oh God, I missed the line completely. Am I fucking 6 years old? Colour in the lines, draw on the lines, can't do shit. Jesus Christ. I make a living drawing and I missed that fucking line. Holy shit. Well, does anyone want a commission? I can't draw lines for shit, but I'll draw you something. That said, I have currently reopened commissions. I took the month of June off for the most part. You know, like I said, to work on my SpiderMan comic, which I only started doing at the very end of the month. You know, a large percent of working on something like a comic, especially for me, especially because I'm in my early days of comic booking properly, a large part of it is formulating the idea of the pages and such in my head. You know, like writing, like I said in my Bill Watterson Art of video. If you've not seen that, go fucking watch it. He mentioned that the hardest part of him, or the most, you know, time-consuming part of making comics for him, was writing them. And I'd say similarly for drawing comics, especially when you've got a script already written. Not necessarily the most time-consuming bit, but certainly a hard part of it is coming up with the ideas of the imagery, of where you want to put everything, how you want it to look. So I spend a lot of time literally just thinking about it until I finally sit down and go, ha, got it. This will go here, that will go there, and you go, and then you draw it and it's all good. And then you realise none of your ideas work and you've got to start again, which happened a couple of times on a couple of pages, but they're all done now. They're all drawn. Imagine that. Yeah, nice bold, B-O-L-D, as opposed to B-A-L-D. Oh, he is bold also. We might give him some hair in the cross-hatching tutorial video. I like that. I might change the image. For now, this is not bad. Not bad. Not bloody bad. SpiderMan. Pew, pew. 6 pages. It's not much, but it's honest work. The old fat farmer meme. I'll show you now, quick. So SpiderMan, again, there will be another page before this. This is the 6 pages. There will be a title page, like a front cover for it, as I said. So SpiderMan being chased by goblins on gliders, like the Green Goblin, but smaller and more goblin-y. And then he goes BAM! Into something, and he's like, oh, what the fuck, a cuckoo bird flying around his head. What the fuck was that? It was fucking Galactus. Holy shit. There's Spider-Man there. He'll be hanging by a web. The goblins are like, oh shit, let's get fucked off. And they go away. And he's like, oh wait, what the fuck's that? And it's the Silver Surfer. And he's like, yo, what's up? Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm with this guy here. And he's like, this guy here, he's a fucking chump. And Galactus is like, yeah, I can fucking hear you, bitches. Come on. And they look at each other like, oh, maybe keep your voice down. So he lets go of his web. See, because he goes from hanging like that, and then he obviously swings up to hang upside down, and he's hanging upside down, and then he lets go, falls down, and then goes whip, and he swings away from the Silver Surfer, and then the Silver Surfer's following him, and this is going to be like Galactus in the background. So he's going this way, and then he's going this way, and then he's going this way. He's on the back of his board, and he'll be saying shit. And then he flips up to Galactus's head on one of his horn head things, and he's talking to him. And Galactus is like, yeah, well, fucking whatever. I'm going to eat your shitty city, you little spider cunt. And Spider-Man's like, come on, look at this thing. It's good. Don't do that. See, look how grand and good it is. And they look out over the city, and it's glistening and busy and whatever. So Galactus is like, yeah, fine, whatever. So he walks off, and Silver Surfer goes with him. And then the goblins are like, he's fucked off, let's get him. So they're back, and he's like, shit it. And he's swinging away from the goblins again. And that's the end. Script by my friend Ian Sharman. I've sort of chopped and changed the script a little bit. There will be speech bubbles and text boxes, but with no text in them, because I feel like you should be able to tell what's going on via the images. I didn't want it to be too, text heavy, I guess. I didn't want you to have to necessarily read the comic. Ian Sharman will be credited. I'll have like art by Ewan, adapted script by Ian Sharman. So credit where it's due and all that. But you should be able to see he's swinging away from the goblins, smacks into the thing. What is it? It's Galactus. Oh shit, the goblins are obviously scared. They're fucking off. And then he's like, Spidey sense, see. What's going on? And then there'll be like speech bubbles here, but with nothing in them, just because I like the visual of having speech bubbles on a comic book page. So I'll have them there, but I won't have text in them. I'll just be showing you talking is happening, but you don't need to know what, like watching a foreign film, sometimes you can gauge what's going on by the film, even if you don't understand the words being said. So it'll be like that. And then he's like gesturing, you see his hand, he's gesturing here, talking, and then you see Galactus and he's angry, and they're like, something's happening. So then he's swinging up, and he's like, come on, and, he swings upwards. He's on his head. You should know Galactus eats planets, that's what he does. So that's obviously why he's here. He's talking to Galactus, and he's like, look at this thing, come on. Like he's gesturing, and then you look out, and then Galactus is like, fine, whatever, walking off, and then the goblins are back. So I feel like you can sort of see what's happening. A little bit anticlimactic. There's no real action or fighting happening, which I kind of like. I quite like that. I think I'd really like to get my mitts into like a, if not a Hulk comic strip, a Hulk Spidey sort of team up / fight, which I'm sure there's been enough of. I've read a couple where, oh no, Spider-Man fights the Hulk. Oh my God, Hulk's punching Spider-Man. But wait, they at some point find out that they've got a joint enemy, and they have to put their differences aside and team up and take down the enemy of forced crossover fighting. That'd be a fun one to do, a fun strip to draw, because then I get to draw the Hulk and Spider-Man and action fight scenes, Spider-Man flipping about, Hulk bashing, and, you know, funny facial expressions from the Hulk, obviously not Spider-Man. So that just needs to be painted, as well as the other page, and then taken to the printer, get them printed. I could do, you know, each page in a day, easy. Especially that's like one big panel. I've got plans. I won't go into it all. There's not too much going on in that one. That'll be fine. Again, a few character pieces. Backgrounds are easy enough. Just sky, whatever. That shouldn't take too long. A couple of Spider-Man paintings. Silver Surfer, I've got to work out exactly how I'm going to colour him, but this will be a bit of a pain in the arse. It's all going to be in... well, I won't spoil it. I've got a plan to make it a bit easier. I'm not painting fine details of everything, but it will still take a little while. And then similarly for this one. But yeah, spend a day on each page, probably even just an afternoon on each page. Get them done, get them printed in the concertina, like I said, like this. So this will be the front cover I'll be doing, and then that'll be page 1 and 2. Be like this. And I've, you know, like I did mention previously, I want it to be consistently moving this way. So you've got him swinging, and then he swings into him hitting the thing. And then he's there, and there. And then is and this I'm not supposed to, I'm trying to have it with the background move this way, then this way, then this way, then this way, up. He's moving upwards. So he's moving upwards to here. And then that's whatever. And then that's and then he's swinging off this way again. And there'll be like a little, like, the end, you know, thing. So when it's all laid out like this, it will look fucking cool, especially when it's painted. I'm also, yeah, started commissions again, because I'll still need to make money while doing all of that. Got an art sale coming up, so hopefully that'll help out with that. And everything should be all right. I'm itching to start cross-hatching this. I guess I could, because, you know, if this is only the practice version of the final, then I guess I can practice my cross-hatching. Much like a painting, start with some, you know, basic blocks of shadow, just to give yourself a bit of a guide, a bit of an idea of what it is you're doing. Basic light source from above, you know the deal. But I'll be giving tips on, you know, cross-hatching, obviously. You know, contour lines and short hatching, long hatching, shadows and gradients, so starting really dark here and then getting lighter and lighter here. Oh, excuse me. Maybe I'm dying. Gradients, yeah. Stringiness, yeah. Pomegranates, yeah. Look up Cassette Boy. His videos are funny. Or there, I think it's a group of people called Cassette Boy. Their videos are pretty funny. Look them up. The Pomegranates, yeah. Stringiness, yeah, is from one of their videos. Hence my mentioning of them. See, gradients make it look good. Allegedly. I did think it would be quite cool to have to do the cross-hatching tutorial video in my sketchbook, but I'm now just realising I have to like have my hand weird because of the drop off of the page, so maybe I'll just keep it flat, nice and easy. I really like these hatching little lines like this, veins and tendons and things. They're really fun to hatch, so I've made sure to put some of them in for my tutorial video, because that'll be good. That'll be enjoyable. People like that. Hopefully. I do hope people like what I do. People say they like it, but I don't know if they mean it or not. They could just be lying to me. Fun, fun, fun. Drawing is fun. Unless you do it for a living, then you'll hate it. Ooh. Just kidding. I always hated it. I just happened to be good at it. It's very, I mean, I don't even know. So occasionally I'll have fun creating a drawing. But I find so often drawing is a means to an end. Like I have the idea for a picture I want to create, therefore I have to fucking sit and draw the thing. Like with the comics, I try to have fun doing them, I do. I try to draw things that I know will be more fun to draw, more fun to paint. But on the whole, it's a thing I want to make, and therefore I have to make it, which is how I explained before how you can get through art, or like one of the ways you might be able to use to get through art block is just to think, well, I want to make this comic or this book or whatever it is, and the only way it's going to get done is if I fucking sit down and do it. So drawing isn't always a joy, but if there's something you want to do that involves drawing, then you've got to fucking draw to do it. Not every commission I get is a blast, is fun for me to do, but I've got to pay my fucking bills. I've got to get this bread so that I can afford to get literal bread and eat and survive and continue to exist. So I've just got to fucking sit down and draw the portrait of someone's pet or whatever boring thing they want drawn. Wow, look at all the volume in that drawing. That's amazing. Wow. You should be an artist. That's nice of you to say, but I hardly think I'd... Oh, you know, these are just doodle. I don't know. I can never be an artist. Can you imagine? Wow. I'm describing cross-hatching. What would I say? Then you do this. I use lots of these lines. Loopity-loop lines. But not too much because they can look messy. So you need to sort of intersect them with some basic hatches. And you always start from the darkest point and then hatch up towards the lightest. So it gives you like a... tethered, that's not the right word, tethered, whatever, a line like that, a tapered line that hatches from darkness to the light. Yes. And do enough of those and you'll give yourself AIDS, cancer. You should all get cancer. Leave rims. So if you have shadow here, if you make all of this shadow, you lose the end of the finger in the underneath of the finger. So you keep a little rim of lighting around the end of the finger. I once texted my friend the word finger, but I accidentally put a T instead of an R, so it said fingit. And now it's a running joke that, hey, remember that one time you said fingit? I thought of a thing I could do. I've been doing my Art of series, which has been and is still very enjoyable to do. But I thought what I could do atop that, excuse me, because I've got a lot of art books of just one artist. I have one book by an artist and that's it. Whereas the ones I've been showing, I've got like piles of books by certain artists that I really like because I collect their shit. So I show them off, go, hey, look. But I've got a lot of books that are just one book by an artist. So I could do a whole video on just look at this book by an artist and talk about them a bit, maybe shorter videos. But I thought what might be cool is to just grab a book off my pile, show it in my podcast, maybe cut a few minutes of that out for a separate clip. I have stopped doing it. I know I used to do it quite a lot, or at least for a period of time where I take huge fucking 10 to 20 minute chunks of my podcast and upload them on YouTube. So then when the podcast came out 2 weeks later for the public, they'd already seen a huge chunk of it. So I stopped doing that. But, 3 to 5 minutes of a, 30, 40 minute or more podcast. That's not so. Oh, I almost threw up on that one. One of my oldest art books. I don't know how much of this you can see in the. Let me adjust. Okay, that's good. The Gothic and the Eldritch, the collected sketches of Jez Goodwin. As you may or may not be able to see, that's a Chaos Space Marine. He's an artist. I don't know much about him, what he's done previously or since. But at least at this time, he was an artist for Games Workshop, Warhammer, that sort of thing. I saw this book and I was, say a year. When the fuck was this published? I don't know if it says when it was published. Wow. 2001. This book is almost 20 years old. Wow. So I was a young whippersnapper, 12, 13 years old. And I liked drawings. So every time I saw a book with drawings in it, I wanted it. And I got this. And, fun little tale, ignore the fact that I was a silly little Billy putting my name in books like, Toy Story, Andy writes his name on his shit. I wrote my name on his shit. For Ewan, good luck, fella, from the artist Jez Goodwin. So they had these events called Games Day, which was like the Games Workshop Warhammer event days where you could go and play games and see new shit and buy things and meet the artists, and it was cool. I have a friend who I grew up with who's a bunch of years older than me, who was like, babysat me loads, and we always played Warhammer games together. He grew up to eventually, and I guess he still does, he works for Games Workshop now in Nottingham, head office. I'll flip through this while I babble. And he writes the rules for their Lord of the Rings games because they got the rights ages ago to make the games for Lord of the Rings, make miniatures and they make the games. And he writes the shit because he was a writer for like as much as I was an artist. That's always what he's done and that's what he ended up doing. So he literally grew up to get his dream job, which is pretty fucking cool. So I went to one of these Games Day events, took this book along many years after it had come out, so it wasn't in print anymore or anything. Went to the artist table, saw my friend there because he was there with people, and he goes, Ewan, come here, grabs my arm, takes me to the artist table, past all the queues, goes to Jez Goodwin. Hey Jez, this is my friend Ewan, he'd really like you to sign his book. And he was like, oh, cool, no problem. Took this book, and he was surprised to see it because, like I say, it was out of print, I guess. And he signed it for Ewan, good luck fella, with his little signature. And that was really, really cool. I was really, really happy for that. And, you know, this being in here, my name, you know, it's kind of shitty, but at the same time, I have no plans to ever sell this book because I like it. So it's not lost value by having my name in it, or not gained value necessarily. It's gained sentimental. So anyway, Space Marines and shit. That's fucking cool. Karl Kapinski is very popular currently. He works a lot with Kim Yoon-gi and the Super Annie sort of crew. I feel like Karl Kapinski is on another level to Jez Goodwin, which I only really recently realised. Like, because these are fucking great drawings, you know, form or whatever, it's all there. Very, very good. But then you see some of the stuff produced nowadays and it's like, whoa, that's fucking good. It does feel like this stuff is maybe, you know, it's just of the time, I guess. It's not worse. It's just older. They may be, you know, expectations always get raised because the art before this would have looked even more bland by comparison, which is a shame, but that's just sort of how it goes. Same with Marvel Comics. You know, you see the old Marvel Comics and the artwork looks dumb and stupid because it's so old, and you think the people back then must have been fucking dummies who can't draw. But then you see the artwork being produced nowadays and it's levels upon levels upon levels higher in quality. So that's just how it goes. So this looks old and tame by today's standards, but it's still fucking good art. And it's drawings, ultimately, so that's good. Also, this book has these in, which is really cool. Tracing paper with, like, notes on this, which is, you know, fucking badass Space Marine drawing. Also, his Space Marines, at least to some degree, look relatively proportioned. You know, still big and ridiculous, but they work. And yeah, notes on the thing, which is cool. I liked that fact. That's one of the reasons I got the book, because I liked it because of that. A nice little added touch. Chaos Space Marines, very cool, stocky, chunky things. They really should make fucking, like, 8-inch action figures of these. They'd be amazing. You know, with movable parts and shit, so it's not glue them together and paint them. It's a ready-made action figure you can move around. But they probably don't have plans to do it. Plus, they'd cost like £80 or something, because Games Workshop do like their prices, don't they? And that's pretty much the book, in essence. Yeah, I think most of what he did was concept sketches. He did some final pieces and stuff as well, but I think he's most known especially for his concept sketches, like the ones in this book. That's very cool. That's really, really cool, actually. Abaddon the Despoiler, yes. And his stuff works very well, especially when you can see, because it's not outrageous. There's not loads of movement in it. There's enough movement, but there's not loads of movement. So he probably had in mind a miniature was going to be made of this, so it needs to have a certain sort of form and staticness to it. So because of that, the relationship between the drawing and the final miniature is a good one. That there's not too much artistry lost or whatever. Fabius Bile, he was always one of my favourites. He's got a coat made out of like skin stitched together. Got these like spider claw needle arms and shit. More notes on him, which is cool, but at the same time, it's almost like not doing, like, if you're gonna have tracing paper over a thing, you could do more with it than just some notes. But I still do like the idea and the fact that they did it anyway. And again, for this book being like 20 years old, it was pretty fucking cool. Some Warhammer fantasy stuff, Chaos Warriors, Greater Demon of Corn. Skaven, they're very cool. Elves, whatever. Gives a shit about high elves. Ooh, fancy. So yeah, there you go. There's one of his like more final pieces. And like I say, if you compare that to a current day Karl Kopinski piece, which is, you know, action packed, there's loads of characters, loads of, you know, fighting and shit going on, whereas this is, like I say, quite tame by comparison. You know, there's details, dripping things, and good design elements. But it's just person in scene. But it's still a good fucking drawing, you know. Not everyone can draw like that. That's the page hitting my lamp, by the way. Is that noise? Tyranids. Yeah, whatever. Cool. I like the difference in, like, that's obviously photoshopped on top of the thing. I like that. Tyranid alien weapons. Look, they got that. I stole that completely. Like the hand, because it's like a hand that's also a gun. But the shape of it, with the fingers coming out, with the thumb like that, and the pinky sticking out. I completely stole that and didn't even realise until this moment right now. You caught me. Oh shit. Now what? Oh, Necromunda was a good game. That was a really good game, actually. Like dense cities and shit with gangs walking around shooting each other. I think these are, yeah, like original designs for some of those gangs. Really fucking cool. Muscles and guns. What more do you need? Big bad boys, mechs and things. Titans, I guess they're called. Ooh, what are they called? Necrons, there you go. Like Egyptian robot skeletons. And that's like one of their big ship things. Well, not a ship thing, it's a person, but it's like... Also, I like here how they've got like... This is what I mean by do more with the tracing paper. So it's got like the ball joint here, which goes in this way, and then this is the thing, and this here, and bits like that. So it's more of the ball joints, more than just notes. It's actual like diagrams of things. That's what I mean when I say you should do more with like the tracing paper element. Tanks and things. That shit can't be easy to design. That's cool. It's stuff like this that makes me think like, you know, even his more final drawings. I guess that's just a smaller part of a bigger drawing. But you see that and I'm like, I could draw that. I could easily draw that. I could get a job at Games Workshop drawing shit. That's cool. I always thought this pose was a bit off. It's an okay drawing, not one of his best. Just a sketch, obviously, so it doesn't need to be fantastic. But I always, something about the shape of this does not sit right with me at all. Do you agree? Do you not? Oh. Sisters of Battle. That one, however, is really cool. I like the flow with the leg and the arm and the sword. That's really cool. Ships. Spaceships. Robots. The Tau. I think they'd only just been invented at this point. And that's quite a cool picture. But it always bugged me that like they're supposed to be like 8 feet tall, but then it starts at 2, 3, 4, so it's actually only 7 feet tall. If those are even a fit. Jez in front of a Space Marine drawing. That's cool. You can see he used pencil, so, you know, shame on him for that. But, yeah, nice book. It's got a really, really nice feeling cover. They really paid attention to the feel of the book as a whole, like with the tracing paper, the text and the feel. And the off-white on the paper as well. So when it is white, like here, it stands out, which is really cool. Really good book. Jez Goodwin always was a favourite. You know, his work, like I say, it's not bad. It just like compared with modern day, you know, gaming artwork, it's not up there. But for what it was at the time, it was hugely important. Or something, I don't know, whatever. Where are we at time-wise? A few minutes. Shall I do some more hatching? I've lost my biro. Oh, there it is. I don't even... there should be veins and shit in here. I'll have to add those in when I do the actual... Someone, I've only got a couple of comics with his artwork in, but someone you should look up for this sort of thing, muscly arms and shit, is Dale Keown. Did a lot of Hulk. He was the guy who drew Pitt from Image Comics, back when Pitt was a thing. Yeah, if you don't know his stuff, look him up, because fuck me. And if you do know his stuff, isn't it bloody good? How would we... These sorts of hatches on cloth. Sometimes it's good to hatch where there's no lines. So if the veins and things, for instance, you could do this. There's no lines, but with the hatching, you can give the impression that there are. I'm not necessarily teaching you how to hatch right now. I'm more practicing for when I do my crosshatch tutorial video, yeah. That'll probably do. You get the idea. Hope you enjoyed things. Hope you're all well enough. Pooh's funny. Remember when